Lovelies! Today I have another soup recipe for you. As I mentioned, I'm currently doing this kind of diet where I eat mostly vegetables and vegan, so that's why the recipes are what they are at the moment. But I really hope you are enjoying these light vegetarian and vegan recipes. So today is a delicious, I would say. It's like a spring kind of soup because it's really light, packed with vegetables, but it has so much flavor from the spices. I really enjoyed eating this soup and I hope you are gonna like it as well. So let's get started with the recipe. As you know, I always like to do the prep before I start with my soups or similar dishes. So I'm gonna peel the onions. I'm using 2 small ones, but you could just use 1 medium or 1 big one. And then I'm gonna finely dice the onions. And then just gonna leave this aside. Then also gonna prep the garlic the same way. So peeling it first. And also finally dicing the garlic. Also leaving the garlic aside with the onion. And then I also have 1 chili. You could use this or you could leave it out, so your choice. And I'm just gonna finely slice it. So using it with the seeds and everything. But as I said, you can leave it out or remove the seeds or add a little less. Just adjust it to your taste. So leaving this also with the onions and garlic. And then the last thing is the ginger. So I'm gonna use a smaller bit. So this has some dry parts. I'm gonna just remove them. So about thumb-sized bit of the ginger. I'm just gonna peel it first. And then because I like the flavor of ginger, but I don't like to have bits of ginger, I'm gonna grate it. You could alternatively also just dice it, but then you'll have bits, bigger bits, so I prefer grating it. And then this is also gonna go to the onions. Then I have 2 medium carrots. I've peeled them already and I'm just gonna slice them. You could also dice them if you want, or cube them. I want different shapes in the soup, so I'm just gonna slice them so I have these circles. So also gonna leave the carrots aside, but on a separate plate. So not with the onions and garlic and the rest that we prepped just now, but with the carrots I'm also gonna prep these beans. So I'm kind of prepping the things that we'll need about the same time to cook. So just gonna remove the ends and then chop them like this, and these will go with the carrots. And then I have the 2 very last things to prep, and first is gonna be the zucchini, and these are also the things I'm gonna add to the soup at the very end, because I don't want these to be cooked through. I want them to be a little bit crunchy, and this is something you can decide yourself. So if you want the zucchini to cook through as well as the cauliflower, then just allow them to cook a little bit longer than I will. So just gonna cube the zucchini And the very last thing is the cauliflower, so I'm gonna just separate the florets. And then the small ones I'm gonna leave as they are, just gonna chop the end bits. And then these slightly bigger ones I'm just gonna half and chop so that I have these kind of bits. So the smaller ones, just leaving them as they are, and then halving the big ones. And then the very big ones, just slicing them so that I have these similar pieces. Then you want to heat a big pot over medium heat, and once it's warm, cover the bottom well with olive oil. And I'm adding in the onion, garlic, chili, and the ginger. Keeping the heat on medium, and we want to give them about 5 minutes just to kind of soften them a little. Add more oil if needed. And then after those about 5 minutes, it should smell amazing because the onion, the garlic, the ginger, and the chili, they're releasing so much flavor. And since this is the base for our soup, we want to add a little bit more flavor. So now I'm gonna add salt. I'm gonna add at this point only 2 teaspoons. You can adjust this later. Then I'm also adding in 2 teaspoons of curry. Mine is slightly spicy. And about a teaspoon of turmeric, some freshly ground black pepper. And if you know me, you know I love dry garlic, so also adding in a teaspoon of dry garlic powder. And another thing you might know I like is the thyme, so adding in 1 teaspoon of dried thyme. Then just gonna mix in the spice. And at this point, if you notice there's not enough liquid to kind of mix in the spice, then add in a little bit more oil. And we are just gonna give another couple of minutes, so 2 to 3 minutes, just to kind of cook off the spice. And now you know this is the base for the soup, so it smells really nice, it's really nice and flavorful. That's why I'm not adding any vegetable stock at a later point. I'm just gonna use water. So now just gonna cook off the spice, and then after those couple of minutes we are going to start adding the vegetables. So I'm gonna add the sweet corn first. And with it the beans and the carrots. Just gonna mix through shortly, and then I'm gonna cover it with a lid and just cook for about 5 minutes with the steam. Then after those 5 minutes, first gonna give a quick mix. I'm gonna start adding the liquid. So as I said, I'm using water, and also I'm gonna use coconut milk, so 1 can of coconut milk to add some creaminess. And then I'm also adding 2 cans of hot water. When you add the water hot, you're not gonna reduce the temperature of the soup. So just added that in, and now I'm gonna bring it to low simmer and allow it to simmer for about 10 minutes before I turn off the heat and add in the rest of the vegetables. And then after those 10 minutes, you can turn off the heat. I'm gonna say this again, if you want to cook the cauliflower and the zucchini until it's soft, then just add it a little bit earlier so that they have a bit more time to cook. I want mine to be crunchy, so I'm adding them in now. I'm just gonna mix them in. So you can see this is a pretty thick soup, so there's a lot of vegetables, not that much liquid. So if you want it to be a little bit more, or if you want to have a little bit more liquid there, then you can add, at this point you can add a little bit more liquid. Now you want to cover the soup and leave it aside for about 15 to 20 minutes before it's ready for serving. Before you serve it, or before you leave it for serving, just do a final taste test and adjust any spices if needed. And now I'm just gonna cover it and leave it for 20 minutes. So it's a really easy and quick to make recipe, and it makes a really flavorful and hearty soup. I know it's a vegetable soup, but it has so much flavor from the garlic, the chili and the ginger, and also all of the spices that we put into the soup, that it's not really missing anything. So you're not missing out on anything, even though it's just vegetables. I like to eat soups, any kind of soups really, with a little bit of yogurt or sour cream. So now I'm using the vegan alternative. What you can do as well if you eat vegan or vegetarian, and then if you don't, then you can just use whatever you like. You could also add a little bit of greens on top if you like, or you can eat it as it is, so you don't necessarily need to add anything on top. Just eat it the way you prefer. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and if you did, don't forget that thumbs up for support. Also, if you're new to my channel, then you can subscribe right now, and if you tap the bell, you won't miss any of the new recipes. Thank you for watching my video. Bye bye until next time.